Okay, testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2. Okay, welcome everyone, and welcome to the Pro Trade Room Plus and Core PPI. My name is Lee Goldstein, Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember that all the trades we discuss for educational purposes. I'm not a financial advisor. It is possible to lose money trading futures. All right, good morning everyone, and welcome everyone on YouTube. We're streaming today. Okay, looks like everything seems to be working. So we are here for the US PPI. Now keep in mind that this is a report that they've raised margins on the report, and it definitely is a report that has a significant amount of risk if you're going to trade this report. The market is looking and watching very carefully. Also, the events are out of order this month. It's usually CPI and then PPI, and they're reversed this week. And it's usually PPI with retail, and this week it's CPI with retail. So we do have a plan, but it is a little bit more complicated because of the setups, the news that's trading with each report. So now PPI has pretty much should be traded as a trap trade. We do not have another setup for PPI, and we don't really recommend anything but a trap trade with gold. So the first thing we're going to look at is the spike sheet. Home Depot was perfect trade this morning. It's definitely one of our favorite earnings trades. It's been a good one. It's Home Depot definitely always is worth getting up for. And it's not even that early. It's only 6 in the morning. It's not that bad. If I can get up, you all can get up. That's the truth. All right. We're going to take a look at the spike sheet for PPI. So what is a spike sheet? When we do this studying of our trap trade, we look at the spikes, how much the report moves when the news comes out. That's what we're looking at. So what we have are the bursts, okay? And then the second column is the reversals. So those become your targets. You've got how much did the news move on the news being released, and how much did it change direction. So you can see that there's lots of reversals with gold on PPI. Last month, it moved more than 50 ticks and it reversed more than 50. In March, it moved it moved 60 and it reversed more than 60. February, not a great reversal. And sometimes it'll happen. Sometimes there won't be great reversals. And also sometimes there will be moves that might not get you filled. For instance, November and December, they would not have filled us, okay, with this particular setup. This setup gives us a zone of safety of 70 ticks for the outer tier plus the stop. So we have a 95 tick zone of safety. If the gold price moves 95 or more ticks, then there's a possibility we're going to get stopped out rather quickly, okay? If it spikes and changes direction and it's under that 95 ticks, then that's good for our trap trade setup. So let me show you what the trap trade looked like last month. Last month, we traded it in a moment of insanity as a breakout with gold. Because the gold breakout testing is not, well, I'm not going to say it's not horrific. I guess horrific would probably be a little bit strong of a word. There's been some breakouts that have worked, but this really is a report that over the past more than a year, it has whipped and reversed and changed direction. And we truly recommend that it be a trap trade. So let me just show you, let me just fix my webcam. So last month, like I was saying, we traded a breakout and it was a stop. I don't know what inspired me to trade the breakout. Okay, the orders are going to show up in a few seconds. And what a reversal, okay? That's called a whipsaw. I went back in and I tested the trap trade with a replay just for fun, see what might have happened. And if you gave it a few seconds, it did a little bit of a chop first, then it pushed up, and then it pulls back, and it was a pretty good looking trap trade. So there was absolutely profit available as a trap. Let's check our time sync. Make sure the computer is in sync. Now, we have tried trading this a lot of different ways. I don't know why we just haven't accepted the fact that if you're going to trade it, you should trade it as the trap. Doesn't mean it's going to work today as a trap. It could do a total perfect breakout. It's a risky report. It's a report where the brokers raise margins. That tells you it's an extra risky report. Okay. So it's one of the reports. It's not a family money trade by any means. It's a risky, volatile event, especially now because the market is looking at this data so closely. Everybody's all bent out of shape over rate cuts. I don't have to say it. We've been there nonstop with the same worries. The interesting things that go on, and there's plenty of interesting things in the news. I mean, fantastic that the guy who got involved with the GameStop memes, he's posting again. That's been fun. Short sellers. GameStop went crazy again, the stock yesterday. That kind of stuff is interesting and fun. You can't help but look at that. Can't help but look at that news and remember that Robinhood is not your friend as a broker. My opinion, they did the worst behavior to their customers that I've ever seen a broker do. I would never use them as a broker ever, and they got away with it. My opinion only. They stopped people from trading. It seemed very unfair, very unfair. Anyway, you gotta just love that kind of stuff. You love all the crazy. I love all the craziness surrounded with the short selling and the meme stocks and regular people making some money. That's the best. So there's certainly plenty of news in the world, but the PPI and CPI is very important because all eyes are always on the Fed, always on the Fed. What could I tell you? Eyes are on the Fed. All right, here's what we're going to do for the PPI. It's a trap trade, and we've got to stop. Probably going to go 25 on the stop, and our time of activation, the time of the event is 8:30 for everybody out there. 8:30. I'm using the new version of this where it does time differently. All right. Everyone's going to have the new version soon. Promise. Very soon. So time of the event is 8:30 and the prep is 5 seconds. Tiers 55 and 70. 55 and 70 on the tiers. All right. We're going to label it gold. 55 and 70 on the tiers. I'm going to trade it. It's been a trap trade over and over. Going to give it a shot. There's a possibility. It's not a guarantee that it's going to fill. It might not fill. Maybe we won't get a big move. You don't always get a big move. Let me just redo my strategy. You don't always get a big move. And we saw that in November and December. We had a couple of moves that wouldn't fill. Let me see if my template works. I'm not even sure I made one. What's today's date? Yes, that should be one. Tiers of 55 and 70. 8:30 activation. 8:30 is the time of the event for everyone. Prep seconds, 5. Okay. Prep seconds are 5. And the stop was 25. So 55 and 70 on the tiers. And gold is a little bullish today. It's up Looks like it's up $10. I'm watching the ES on the right, and let's take a couple of looks. So like I said, there have been a lot of different ways that we have traded this report. And look, you could trade this in your cash account, or you could trade it in your prop account. If you have a prop account, it's up to you where you want to take the risk. Don't forget there is margin. Margins are up. Margins are up. Prep seconds. It means the orders are going on the chart 5 seconds before the event. So for instance, if the preparation seconds were 10, then the orders would go on the chart 10 seconds before the time of the event, which is 8:30. That's what that means. Okay. The new software, we'll just put the time in like we do on a breakout trade. It's easier. We did it the old way for years, but it's okay to make a change. Just for fun, let's look at some of the previous ways that we've traded this. Let's go back and look at September. What were we doing in September? See you in September. One of my least favorite songs. Let's see, do we have a video that works for September? Maybe not. Now in September, obviously it was trading with retail also. I don't think I have a good video. Let's see, maybe. Up, maybe. Let's see. So we had a spike sheet, retail, and PPI in September. And all of our testing, retail or not retail, we've had enough similar moves that whether it trades with retail or not, we're still doing a similar setup. Sometimes we have tweaked the values. And September, let's see what happened. I honestly don't remember what happened this particular month. So we got a fill, and it was a very quick winner. You could see that filled one and burst, did an instant reversal. So that was a pretty good one. And let's see what October did. So we go into October. And very similar to September, it burst down and pulled up. We'd had a little bit more time to manage the trade. So that was a nice solid trap also back in October. And then November, if our sheet is correct, I believe that November is a no fill. Let's see. Let's see what our setup was. A little bit smaller on the tiers back in November, but I still think it should have been a no fill. Let's see if it was. As we test, we're often tweaking setups. There's no doubt. We don't always tweak a setup, but when we look at the reports, we won't make a change because of one event. Okay, that's something that we don't do. One event can be an anomaly. It could be one event. You don't want to make a decision based on one. And November was not filled with gold. And then my guess also is that December didn't fill as well. 3 is a trend. 2 is a super heads up. I will make trading decisions based on 2 events in a row. I will. I'd rather have 3 events in a row to base a decision on. 3 is a little bit of a trend, like I was saying. I remember the old days when I first got here, nothing would change. We had a 6-month evaluation period, very, very, very conservative before we did even dream of making a change. Now, of course, life has changed. The markets are much more volatile. The pandemic happened. Everything changed. December looks like it did not fill by just a tick. So it looks like December did not fill. Yeah, no fill in December. Then we start getting back into the new year. Let's see what happened in January. In January, we were a little bit smaller on our tiers than we are now. Not by much. And it fills, I think January was a stop, if I remember. My memory is that it's going to keep shooting up. Yep. And it burst up and got us. January was a stop. February, settings like today. I think there was a lot of news in February. No, there wasn't. Just building permits. That's nothing. All right, there's the orders. 5 seconds before the news. And let's see, we got filled on one tier. So when you get filled, like in February, it was only one tier so far. You still need a reversal so that you can cancel the outer tier if it doesn't fill that second tier. Now it looks like it's going to fill that second tier. It's trying. It's not there yet. It fills the outer tier. And it did not have a very good reversal in February, if you remember the spike sheet, but we were able to get out with a small profit. Okay. February did not have a great reversal. Then in March, there was a lot of news. We had retail and unemployment claims. And March was a breakout. Did we trade that as a breakout? It looks like we did. You could see it did a big reversal in March, a very big reversal. When we checked the spike sheet in March, you can see it spiked 60. So we would have been safe. Our tiers with our zone of safety were 95. Okay. So our trap, it had a recent stop in January, a small reversal in February. Okay. The gold market just opened. That's the volatility you're seeing there. So I think that we are sitting okay for a trap trade that has every possibility of working. And we've got 5 minutes. We've checked our sync. So now we just relax and wait. They're expecting 0.3 for the month. All right. And year over year, 2.2 and 2.4 on the core. My gut feeling is that the worry is that inflation's lousy. That's the worry. And that you get a move only in one direction. That, of course, is the worry. That can ruin a trap trade. What we'd like is news that's expected or close to expected, I would think. But there's no way to ever really know what the best news is for the best result because it varies. Sometimes you get a big offset and it works perfectly in the type of event that you're trading. Sometimes you get a Goldilocks jobs report like we had on the non-farm payroll. A Goldilocks report means it was exactly what the market wanted. So even if the news numbers are not what might create a great trade, because of the way the news was interpreted, sometimes it creates a great trade. So no one ever said news trading is simple. And sometimes the analysis is tricky. So let's see what happens. Don't quit your day job. All right. I can't believe where I live, it's May, and I've ridden my scooter none times this season. None. It has been maybe 2 beautiful days of weather the whole spring. It's the worst spring I can ever remember. I think maybe in my life. Just miserable. Maybe I shouldn't be riding the scooter anyway. I find myself pretty scared these days of riding the scooter. That's what getting almost killed will do. I paid the price. Oh, you're in Detroit, Bill. Detroit? Detroit? How do you pronounce that? Detroit? Detroit? All right, we've got about a minute and a half. Now, the idea with the trap is, let's say it bursts one direction and it doesn't fill, and then it changes direction. You might want to cancel, because if it doesn't fill in one direction, then the trap didn't work. Okay. In other words, if it pops up and doesn't fill and then it changes direction, you're then allowed to cancel the trade. What a market open. Wow. I traded the gold market open yesterday, Monday. Yep. And we used to trade the gold market opens and the oil market open during the pandemic. Okay, let's get ready for our orders to show up. I think we should get a reversal here. I would hope. Okay, we got one. I'm going to put my stop in safety. No matter what happens now, I can't lose. I'm going to go to my first order. I'm a little bit close. I'm a little bit too close. All right, so we made $300 on it. I probably got way too close, but it's a very nerve-wracking report. The ES exploded in one direction, okay? Then it pulled back. You could see I might have given up too much profit here, but I'm okay taking up. I'm not okay. I'm jumping off a bridge, jumping off a bridge. And this was a report that you could have had a breakout and or a trap, because it moved a lot. Remember, folks, what was our zone of safety? 90 ticks, 95 ticks zone of safety. Why do we not do the trap? Because look how fast those reversals are. It's dangerous. It's volatile. It's bad liquidity. There's a lot of reasons why. Now, do I want to punch myself in the stomach? Absolutely, for getting my stop too close. But I was a little bit worried about the news. It was all in one direction. All right. And the news worried me a little bit, even though, look, this report, it does reverse most of the time. It did have a great reversal. I definitely left too much money on the table, but I'll still take the 300. I'll still take the 300. Bill, good job that you're still in. Bill, you should be making about $1,000. Great job, Bill. That's the way to trade a trap trade. Okay. I'm not going to cry in a corner, but It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to stay in when you're looking at a significant profit. It's very hard. Giles, you traded a breakout on that on Buell Knox, or was that a trap? Let's get some feedback, everybody. Okay, Giles, you traded the trap. Good job. Good job. Nice job. Uh, John, I'm assuming you traded gold as your breakout, right? We'll look at the video in a minute. We'll look at the video in a minute. I'm thinking, um, I'm thinking that the market is probably not in love with this news. Uh, the PPI month over month is hot. It looks hot to me. That's okay, Bill. Micros are what you're supposed to do when you're new. That's smart. And Frank, ZF, just not the right instrument to trade on this report. You may have gotten some money on it, but I would not have traded it. Honest, I would not trade bombs on this report. It's the testing's not there. The testing's just not there. If you've got the ability to stand in for the risk, gold is the right trade. Whether you break it out or trap it, trap is really the best for gold. But let's look at the video and you can understand why both can work. The ES did really, really push down. It really did. Amazingly so. The ES probably would have ruined, it might have ruined our trap because we've had an ES trap trade and its performance wasn't good because, let's see, ballpark, just very ballpark, the amount of ticks, let's say just for fun, it was 45, 30. We wouldn't have survived an ES trap trade. We just wouldn't have. It moved too much. It moved too much. Now, this trade for me just requires, I wasn't really prepared to do a second trade on it, but for people that are really good traders, this is a good trade for a second trade. Because look, you had, let's look at the video, but I'm not sure the ES reversal would have been tradable or not. Gold, definitely, there was a secondary trade. Let me see, Chantal. I didn't see. Yeah, the ES spike was 125 ticks. I was looking, I was just doing a rough estimate of 100 because I wasn't looking at the whole candle. So we would never have survived the ES as a trap trade. And that's why we don't do it anymore. That's why we don't do it anymore. Because it was too inconsistent. Now, the ES looked like it might have been a great breakout today. Let's take a look at the video. But look, that's what we go through. Very often, this trade, the testing says trap. So that's what we do. We go with our testing. I'm very happy. Almost everybody that traded it looks like almost everyone that traded made money. I don't care if you trade a trap or a crap or whatever, as long as you make money. That's what counts. Make money. So obviously, if you use our setup and it works, we're all happy. But we know that people trade all sorts of different ways. And that's what you learn how to do by spending all the time together going over this stuff. And I want to thank everybody on YouTube. Thanks, everyone. You can sign up with us, www.jobbsoftware.com. We'd love to have you join with us. It's a fantastic offer. Thanks for watching on YouTube. And we'll be streaming again, I believe, at the end of the week. So keep an eye on your email, and I'll let you know when the next stream is. Today was not a public super heavily publicized stream. But thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you on YouTube next time.